I said I'd never join.
Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman track storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter.
Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown.
Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome into Behind the Helm. If you want to watch this show live, tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and we'll respond live. As always, find it, like it, share it, follow it. But if you want to watch the show after the fact, head on over to YouTube or on Facebook, where the shows are cataloged, and you can see all the comments and notes and still watch the show and any bonus content. If you just want to listen to the show, head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, wherever you can find a podcast, and just search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show. Episode... Shoot, I forgot the episode number. 78. I believe we're on 78. Yeah, sure. 78, episode 78. Welcome into Behind the Helm. If this is your first time here, hey, thanks for tuning in. If this is your 78th time here, I'm sure Fields is probably out there somewhere. Fields, you're never going to live that down. You know that, right? You're going to continually be that member that we just always say that about. But if this is your 78th time here, thank you very much. So I've talked to some people about what we were going to do today, and plans change. Things happen. You always got to be flexible, and we have a different guest than what was originally going to happen. Plus, the video that we had been using wasn't working either. So we're going back to Zoom. However, my account is free, so he might drop, and we'd have to add him back in a little later. We'll talk about that in a second. So you are tuned in to Indiana's #1 military podcast. That's right, Behind the Helm, Indiana's #1 military podcast, episode 78. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, today we're going to talk about special warfare and what that means and what it is. And we're going to talk to a special warfare coordinator who primarily works with people to get them ready to do that. So a lot of times in the Navy, it's just the SEALs. That's all anybody knows, but there's a lot more to that. So I think this will be a very interesting episode for those of you that might have some questions about that, and you might learn something new. But with that being said, let's go ahead and smash that like button down below. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the bells, do all those algorithmic things that help this channel and all these channels grow, because even though the information might not be right for you, the more you share it, you never know who you might help. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. And our special guest today is I'm going to use the word infamous, the infamous Petty Officer Diehm, NC1 type Diehm. Diehm, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Let's see here. I'm trying to. I know that you are trying to get a car fixed right now, so we're just going to go audio right now. You let me know if you want to come on video. If not, that's fine. I know you're very busy, and it was kind of last minute, and you're really kind of helping me out, which I appreciate. So, we can just keep it on audio if that's cool with you.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, because I can show everybody. If we look right now, like obviously you can see what's on my screen, Diehm, what everybody else is seeing. And if we go to here, this is what we see. Just his little picture there. He is currently, I think, getting an oil change on a car that needed to get done. So I appreciate you taking the time, man. So Petty Officer Diehm, you've been in the Navy for a minute, right? How long have you been in?
17 years.
17 years in the Navy. And currently you are an NC1, but that's not where you started. That's not how you started. So kind of give us a backstory. Why did you join the Navy, and what did you look like coming in? Like, what did it start out with? How did you decide to join?
Well, coming in, I actually started my career as a machinist. I was sitting on my computer on a Saturday morning, and a recruiter called my house, and he said, "Hey, you want to join the Navy?" And I laughed at him, told him, "No, I'm not interested in that. My brothers are Marines. I don't want to do that." He's like, "This isn't like the Marines." And I said, "I don't believe you." Well, 45 minutes later, he talked me into having a meeting with him, and he even came to my house, which I thought was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So he came to my house, talked to my parents more than he did me, but my parents were definitely excited about it. So that led to me going down to MEPS. This dude shows up at my school. I was still a senior in high school. He shows up to my school and says, "Hey, we're going to take the ASFAB." Didn't even know he was going to show up. Takes me down to MEPS, and I take the ASFAB, pass it, and I want to be a machinist. And he's like, "Yep, you passed for that." So did my first enlistment over in Guam, actually. I graduated top of my class, and I got to pick orders. Well, I wanted to go to Guam. So went over to this little tiny island in the middle of nowhere and did my time over there. Loved it, but it was time to move on. So you wanted
to go to Guam. You actually, chose that.
Absolutely. My instructor was going to be my boss, and which he was. And he's like, "Hey, man, you need to go to Guam." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was there for about 3 months, and then he showed up. So it worked out. I was out there in repair doing my job. I traveled. I was in 15 countries my first 3 years, and I got married, had a kid. I'm still married, still have kids. I didn't get rid of them or anything, but we decided we weren't going to have
frown
kids
on
once.
that for some reason. I don't understand. You can't just it's not like a stray dog. You can't just let them go.
Yeah, you can't put them back. There's no pound for kids, really. So we told the kids we didn't want to have kids anymore, and they took it kind of hard, so we kept them around.
That's funny.
So anyways, moved on. Special operations orders came up. It was a SWIC team, Special Boat Team 12 out of San Diego. Orders came up for that, and went out there, and I spent 4 years with the special operations teams out there. Deployed to the Philippines with a Mark V special operations craft.
Mm-hmm.
SWIC deploy with SEALs, EOD, other operators, and they are the primary insert and extraction for special operations.
So were
individuals.
you at the time, were you a SWIC, or were you there? You were there as a machinist mate, but you were part of that boat team, right?
Yeah, I was a support guy as
Mm-hmm.
part of the team. I was there in what we like to call the glory days of being a tech. So I was a direct combat support. We got to jump out of airplanes with them, going to do missions all the way up until when they knock on somebody's door and ask permission to come in with C4. We do everything up into that step with them.
Right. Like you pretty much still had to keep up with them. So you got the opportunity to do that. And we're going to get into a little bit more of kind of like you just explained a little bit about SWIC, and we're going to bring up a few of those and have you talk a little bit more about those. But you did that, you were with that boat team, and then eventually because you're originally from Indiana, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And then was it after that you came to recruiting?
Yes. I was going to come back here for a few years and transition out, or, do my duty out here, and then either retire here, stay here, or, get out. And Navy blessed me with the opportunity to stay here. So I have ever since. I retire in a little under 3 years.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because your situation is a little different, right? So you came in as a recruiter, you did the normal recruiting thing. And then you became what's kind of called like a hometown recruiter, where you don't move, you stay here, but you're also what's in recruiting is called like a SpecWar coordinator. I don't know if they've changed the name for that, or if it's still called that. That's what I always refer to you as, and that's what I tell like future sailors that are interested about joining the special warfare. Because we get people, oh, I'm going to be a SEAL. Okay, well, what do you know about it? You know what I mean? Because you can't just. I don't think people understand that you can't just go down to MEPS and become a SEAL. And there's actually other branches of our SpecWar, right? So what is your job as a SpecWar coordinator? What do you do?
A lot goes into it. So along with informing future sailors, like you were just talking about, running paperwork, medical paperwork on all the individuals that come in. Everyone needs a waiver to go SpecWar, so I run all the waivers for that. I also put together all your packages, running PSTs and workouts, motivating individuals, giving them a little bit of the taste of the training and the stuff that you're going to do.
Right.
So they're not shotgunned when they get there. They understand what they're going to have to do. They understand some of the workouts and things of that nature. Also keeping people motivated and informed of changing times. Everything changes, just like, just like you said in the beginning of this podcast, everything changes. So try to roll with the punches and make sure everyone's up to date on that stuff. Also going to high schools. Last night I was at Bridgman High School up in Michigan, right on Lake Michigan. Went to their swim team, spent 3 hours with those guys talking about diet, fitness, exercise, stretching, being an athlete. Talked about some mental toughness things and everything. I talked about all the programs that I cover. Talked about regular Navy stuff, opportunities, benefits, did a workout with those guys. So I also do that kind of stuff. Wrestling teams, basketball, football, wrestling, track, all these different sports teams in high school. We go meet with them, as well as doing presentations in high schools anytime that we're, allowed. I also go to colleges, been down to Purdue.
Yep.
Not a lot of people know about Purdue. There's a college in West Lafayette. It's called Purdue University. They're the Boilermakers. So been down.
Who?
Yeah, it's a small school down there.
Is
not a
Gene
big
Cady
deal,
still the basketball coach there? Is that?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
that was like when I was a kid.
Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight, Gene Cady. But yeah, so the thing is, and I'm just gonna preface this, so you can't just come into SpecWar, and we're gonna break down what each one is a little bit, kind of a short synopsis. But you come in, you talk to a regular recruiter, right? You're looking at, hey, I want to go. And not everybody who ends up going SpecWar comes in thinking that that's what they're going to do. But you come in, you decide that you want to join the Navy. You go down to MEPS. And I think a real common misconception when it comes to especially SEAL is that you don't have to be real smart. You just got to be like this jack dude, right? And that's not the case. Like, you actually have to, these are individual operators. These are special operators. You have to be pretty smart to be able to qualify for this. So you got to qualify with the ASVAB. You got to qualify with the physical. And then you're qualified, you've joined the Navy, you decide you want to join, and while you're in the delayed entry program, you can go to one of Petty Officer Diehn's workouts, right? And it's free to go to, doesn't cost you anything extra. You can go and see what it's about and see these other guys, and it's not like you have to go and instantly you're at this level. Petty Officer Diehn's been doing it a long time. He's very smart. Don't take that to your head, man. It's already big enough. And he knows how to get people there. And he's honest. He'll tell you, like, look, this is not going to work for you, or, hey, here's what you need to do, and you need to show progression in this. And then eventually, if you're good enough, you can then get a contract in one of these SpecWar jobs and actually go to boot camp with that contract. Contrary to, like, I know a lot of people know the name David Goggins and his story. He didn't join as SpecWar, went back multiple times. You can do it while you're in too, but this is somebody who, if you're already at that level, can help you get there, train you, keep you motivated to get you there and get you that contract, And yes, of course, Petty Officer Diehm, I'm not trying to downplay you because there's a lot more that goes into it, right, on your side of things. But basically, more or less, like, once you're in the delayed entry program and you're wanting to look at something like this, you're going to continue to work with your recruiter. So any of my guys, they still work with me. They still go to the DEP meetings, just like a SEAL or a SpecWar, I don't want to say candidate, but sailor. They're still sailors. So you're still required to do the normal stuff, but you're doing that extra, and that extra is working with Petty Officer Diehm. So Petty Officer Diehm, what I would like to do before we get into it, and one thing you were talking about, you're married, you have kids, and just interesting fact, where'd you meet your wife?
Funny story. My wife was Navy as well. She was a bosun's mate, and met her on watch one night.
Yep. So, it doesn't happen to everybody, but I always thought it was really cool. And then, you're somebody I've actually talked to. I had a show that we talked about the GI Bill and stuff, but then or the college benefits, and I've talked to you a lot about it because your wife was in the Navy. You still are. She's out. She's doing nursing and stuff now, I believe, but she got her degree and everything, and used the GI Bill, and you guys have that experience, and you've used it and you've utilized it. And I think the first time me and you even talked about it, you told me, like, look, I didn't even know at the time, like, I didn't realize, like, how good this was. And you guys have been able to kind of reap those benefits from that. I think it's a great thing. Not everybody does. So, you kind of have both sides of it.
Yeah, my wife went to St. Francis in Fort Wayne private college. The GI Bill paid out $99,000 for her to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And if people that haven't had to spend that kind of money probably can't fathom it, but you're looking at least half the price of a house on her education. And the GI Bill absolutely paid everything out on that. We paid not a dime. In fact, she still got her grants. She made money going to college.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
I gave my GI Bill to my kids. to give them a better opportunity than what I had growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's working out.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So what I want to do, Petty Officer Diehm, you can see my screen, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, because it's the virtual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, and you're not supposed to see that yet. We're going to watch this video that is Special Warfare in the Navy. It's short. It's about 4 minutes, and we're just going to kind of talk about it and get your take on it. Okay. So are you ready, sir?
Yep.
All right. We're going to go reaction, no mic. We're just going to watch this and see what it is.
I'm Special Boat Operator Chief Chris Favada. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Decided to join the Navy. Main reason for joining the Navy was to do something special, get in this Naval Special Warfare. Whether it be the SEAL teams or the boat teams. SWCC is an acronym, SWCC, and it stands for Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman. Our primary job is an insert extract platform for Special Operations Forces and Navy SEALs. We're there to bring them in and get them out. If bullets start flying, then we're going to be there to send them back the opposite way and get our guys out safe. Most like being a SWCC because I can be out on the water. We're protecting the waterways for the United States and other countries, ultimately keeping this country safe. We do direct action missions, special reconnaissance missions, insert extractions of Navy SEALs and Special Operations Forces.
This is Witch Doctor requesting immediate hot extract. Taking on heavy effective enemy fire from my 3 o'clock position.
The most important part is staying clandestine on the waters and getting the teams in that we're inserting under the cover of darkness, quiet and undetected. Probably the coolest thing I've ever done as a SWCC is controlling multiple different types of aircraft, calling in airstrikes, dropping bombs, shooting guns and driving boats. There's nothing like it. Our Riverine team down in Mississippi operates a Special Operations Craft Riverine. It's our primary Riverine boat. There's nothing like being out on the SpecWar. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride. Having the controls to stop on a dime. It's a pretty exciting job. With the SpecWar brings a multitude of different types of weapons. Guile miniguns, 50 caliber machine guns. Shooting the 50 cal is pretty intense. There's nothing like it in the world. I think the things that you need to do to prepare yourself for our training, you definitely need to start running. You don't have to run many miles each day, 2 to 3 miles a day. Probably the biggest thing is getting in the water and getting comfortable in the water. There's a lot of evolutions in SWCC training that revolve around the water, and if you're not comfortable in the water, you're just not going to make it. At the SWCC school in Coronado, California, they'll throw everything at you. It's pretty intense in the beginning. You definitely put in a lot of situations that the average person doesn't have to go through, and you definitely have to adapt and overcome. When I'm not spending it with my wife and my 2 dogs, usually back out on the water in my kayak. Anything that I can, just chill, sit back, relax, and get a workout doing it. That's what I like. I've been all over the world since I joined the Navy. Korea, the Philippines, Germany, France, Nigeria, Colombia, just about every continent. Wouldn't change it for anything. The kind of person that would be cut out for this job, this community, is definitely a driven person, someone with a lot of integrity, and someone that's a team player. I think those are some of the things that you definitely need to have if you want to be a part of this community. You just need to get with your local recruiter, and they'll send you in the right direction. Get with a SWCC motivator, and hopefully you can pass the PST and become one of us. I hope I was able to answer the majority of the questions that you had on either the Navy or the SWIC community. If not, be sure to go to Navy.com to find out any other information that
or just come over to Behind the Helm, I think is really what you should do. So I thought that was going to show more than just that one, Special Warfare in the Navy, but that's okay because Petty Officer Diehm, you were attached to a SWIC team, which is one of the special warfares that we have that I don't think gets talked about very much. And you had said it a few times and kind of explained it a little bit, and that was more showing it. So with that being said, why don't you tell us, when somebody thinks of special warfare, most of the time it's just SEAL. We just saw something about SWIC. Tell us, what are the different things that are considered special warfare in the Navy?
So special operations and special warfare. If you really want me to break it down, SWIC and SEAL are special warfare. Special operations breaks down into EOD and diver, air rescue, and HMATF, which is a hospital corpsman advanced tactical field. They're almost like combat medics.
Mm-hmm.
So you have SEAL, SWIC, EOD, diver, air rescue, and HMATF, combat medics. There's a lot that goes into all of those.
Yeah.
SEAL and SWIC operate pretty much unilaterally. When you deploy with a SEAL team, you will have SWIC attached.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, they also have EOD units attached to them as well.
Right.
Which is the reason that EOD has to be able to do free fall, halo jumps, and have air capabilities. SWIC also has air capabilities to drop boats in the middle of the ocean and be deployed anywhere at any given time all around the world.
Right, absolutely. And there obviously are like a lot of movies about this stuff and different shows, and most people think they know what SEAL is, and I think it's a little bit more than what people really realize, and that most of the time a lot of the guys, or at least the ones that I've seen, like, yeah, there are some big dudes, but most SEALs that I've met, like successful SEALs, are like really small guy, like really like kind of, I mean, definitely very fit, but like lean. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like what you think. And, there's also the difference between, you were saying EOD is attached a lot of times, EOD being, ordnance disposal, explosive ordnance disposal. And, for me, I'll be honest, until I was a recruiter, I didn't really understand it actually until I had met an EOD senior chief, because I just assumed that EOD, I'm thinking like movies like Hurt Locker, like all they do is like, diffuse like IEDs and stuff. And then come to find out, like, no, they go to dive school. They go to the same dive school as divers, because yes, although they do diffuse that type of stuff, they're also explosive like experts. So where a Navy diver is more of a salvage expert, EOD goes there because they're doing like underwater demo, like det cord, that type of stuff underwater, and is a lot more than just a bomb suit. There's a lot more that goes into it. Same with SWIC. When you try to explain SWIC to somebody, like how do you explain it? That was a 4-minute video, and realizing like how intense even that is. Like, you're not a SEAL though. Okay. You probably still can't do this. You know what I mean? So I think it's pretty cool. And the air rescue guys is a whole different ball game. What, as far as air rescue goes, because I think EOD and diver, obviously you have, what was the movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.? I mean, obviously that was a long time ago, and it's way different now. Men? Was it? What was it?
Was it A Few Good Men? I don't remember that. I remember the movie. I've seen it.
No, A Few Good Men is the one with Tom Cruise and You Can't Handle the Truth. Wow, I can't believe it. I was just talking about this the other day. Anyway, he plays Carl Brashear, which was the first African American Navy diver, and obviously it's changed a lot since then. But kind of the credo of that stuff is that's kind of what they do. But like air rescue, what exactly is air rescue, Petty Officer Diehm? Like, what is that?
Air rescue, some of the primary stuff that they do is to pick people up from the middle of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they do a lot with stuff, also picking people up out of the mountains. So as an air rescue swimmer, they are working in terrible conditions at times, Also in good conditions, any type of weather, right? Inclement
Yeah.
weather or whatever. So you're coordinating with pilots aboard helicopters. So downed aircraft, also picking up drug smugglers running from like Colombia, Venezuela across. I had a guy that did those type of mission sets. He said it was the worst because they don't want to pick these people up because
Sure.
they sunk their drug boats.
Yeah.
But they still have to save their lives.
Yeah.
Humanitarian aid is a huge one that these guys deal with. With going into flooded areas, dropping the litter down, and you've probably seen it on TV, and everybody thinks it's the Army. It's the Navy. Dropping the litter, rescuing people out of there. Also providing support for special operations. Chief Kozak, one of the mentors that was here, he was actually with the special operations unit. He was a quick reaction force.
Yeah.
So essentially what PJs do, Air Force PJs, they go in on miniguns, they're door gunners.
Right.
And go in and, trying to save people from combat zones.
Right.
They also deal with conducting anti-submarine surveillance, as well as transporting troops. They'll do that as well.
Yeah, they're just in there at that point. They're, and my mom actually just posted in here, and now I feel so bad. I can't believe I forgot this. It's Men of Honor is the movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. Very good movie. Robert
There
De
you
Niro's
go.
in it.
Men of Honor.
Men of Honor obviously takes place a long time ago, and that's the thing is a lot of this stuff that people tend to know, especially about the Navy or SpecWar, it comes from movies and stuff, and it's from different times, like you said, change in times and like keeping people up to date. You get somebody in there that is expecting to go diver and thinks it's going to be exactly like that movie, like no. So there's a lot of change in equipment and all kinds of things. But most definitely, I think it's just super important and super cool that we get the opportunity to do that. And I've had the opportunity to work with you with a few different future sailors that I've had who have been able to go to training. And here's the thing. I mean, this is to anybody, I don't like using the term washout. It is what it is, but a lot of people go to this training and they don't make it. It's hard. It is not like, well, I got the contract, so I'm going to make it, right? Like, no, it's super hard. And I've had the opportunity to have a few future sailors go SWIC, a few who've gone air rescue, SEAL, and I've had ones that have made it, and I've had a few that didn't, unfortunately. And I've watched you with them, and you prepare them as much as you can, but at the end of the day, it comes down to them. So for you, I think sometimes it's intimidating, right? For somebody, when I try to explain to them Petty Officer Diehm and what they're getting ready to do, I tell them, like, you have to pass these PSTs. A normal Navy PRT is push-ups, time planks, and you run 1.5 miles. But the PST, the entry-level test that you have to take for SpecWar, for all of these branches of SpecWar, these different jobs, is a little different. What do they have to, we don't got to get into numbers, but what are the events? What do you have to do?
They start with a 500-yard or 450-meter swim.
Okay.
That is done with combat side stroke or freestyle. Freestyle is for air rescue only. Combat side stroke is for all other programs. You will find online that they will allow breaststroke or a combination of both. When you get to school, you show up doing breaststroke, they're going to laugh at you.
You got to do combat side.
You have to do combat side.
Yep.
I am a very big proponent on that. Again, getting people prepared for their next step.
Right.
And ensuring these people are ready for what they're getting into. Combat side stroke is a must. I'm very good at teaching it. Just taught a kid today in the pool. I was in the water with him. Had him lay on the pool deck. I showed him how to do it. Got in, demonstrated. So it's not, I guess the hardest part about all of that, the swimming portion, is just showing up. Show up.
Yeah, and being able to get into a pool, but like you said, very good at teaching it. I think sometimes people think they know, and I try to explain to them, look, and I've said this a lot, Petty Officer Diehm really knows what he's doing. And I'm telling you that if you listen, he can get you there if you have the ability. And I think a lot of times, like I was a swimmer, my wife was a swimmer, and you can race with breaststroke and you can combat side stroke. It's obviously time, but I think what people don't realize, especially combat side stroke, is it's actually a rest stroke. It's not, you should not be gassed from doing, if you're doing it correctly. And me and you've talked, a lot of people, when they think they're doing it correctly, they're messing up like the rhythm of it and actually doing more harm than they are good. And they're not, they're almost swimming backwards, so it's taking the time to listen, and learn that. But the big thing is all right, so you do the 500 swim, then what do you have to do?
You got a 10-minute rest.
Okay.
Then you go into push-ups, 2 minutes of push-ups,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're off for 2 minutes, counting for someone else. Then you get 2 minutes worth of sit-ups. These are full sit-ups, hands on your shoulders. I'm very particular on form because they're very particular when you get to your school.
Right. Same with push-ups too. When you guys do push-ups, regular Navy, we're breaking 90, but for you it's, hey, fist on the ground, like you're going a little deeper, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And full extension all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And those quality numbers.
Right.
The reason the PST exists, I'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, swim, push-ups, sit-ups, then you get pull-ups. Technically you have 2 minutes to hang on the bar and do pull-ups. I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
And then there's a 10-minute rest, and they get a 1.5 mile run.
Thank goodness I know how to do kips, right? Because you can do kip-ups for the pull-ups.
Absolutely not. So very strict on form there as well. Chin above the bar.
Dead
you
hang.
need to be hitting your neck or collarbone back down to a dead hang. And it's on my count for the first 10, and then you get to blast out however many you think you can do after that. So it's very particular on form on all of these things.
And then a 1.5 mile run.
And a 1.5 mile run.
Now,
yes.
before you go forward, we have less than a minute on this Zoom. It'll end. I'm going to have to send you another one. So I don't want it to cut off in the middle of you speaking. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and Petty Officer Diehm, I'm going to end this Zoom and send you a new one. And then I'm going to kind of, while I'm pulling it up and sending it to you, I'm going to just talk about it for a minute and see I just lost him. So that's okay. So with that, let me pull this up. I guess I just need to get a paid Zoom account, but let me get this pulled up and send this to Petty Officer Diehm real quick. And then it should be the only one because we don't have too much. We don't have too much more to really go over, but then we are going to discuss we're going to go into our bonus content. So let me get him in here just a second. Everybody hang with me. This is the thing about live, right? It just happens this way. So let me get this sent to Petty Officer Diehm real quick. And I think it's the same one. So what I wanted to say about it is this, okay? When it comes to people feeling nervous or whatever, and, they think that they might want to, I tell people if you have any inkling of wanting to do something like that, you can go and work out with Petty Officer Diehm because you don't have to come in and just do a PST. You don't have to come in and just pass this PST. He does all different kinds of workouts to be able to continue to move on. So he's connecting audio right now. We'll make sure we get him in here. And all right, cool. You're connected. Can you hear me, Petty Officer Diehm?
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
No, that was me. It ended. So what I was telling them is when it comes to people being kind of nervous about it or like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like the whole point of going and working out with you is to get you to that point. You don't have to come in. I mean, yes, you need to be fit. Like you're not going to be a doughboy and like go work out with you and then all of a sudden you're a SEAL. However, it's not, hey, when you go and work out with Petty Officer Diehm, you're just running PSTs. He runs all different kinds of workouts, different fun things that they do, different events to get you to that point, and it's free to go. You just have to show up and show out. So, I tell anybody, if you think that it's something that you might want to try, you can go work out with Petty Officer Diehm. It's free. right? Go work out with him. You go to a workout or two, and maybe you're like, you know what, not for me. Or maybe you're like, hey, I want to keep doing this, right? And you want to listen and get there. So, speak on that for a moment, and then I know you want to say like something about kind of the purpose of the PST.
Yeah. So showing up is the hardest part. I'm not going to yell at you at this level where you're at. You are going to get yelled at a whole bunch in training, no matter where you're going to go for special operations programs.
It's true.
So this is a training environment. I want you to be receptive and understand what we're trying to do without the yelling. It's not required. So making it a good environment for learning and training is important, right? If you're completely exhausted and you can't take another lap in the pool, take a rest if we're trying to teach you something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So again, showing up is the hardest part.
Right.
And I will
absolutely.
give you as little or as much as assistance as what you need. If you need extra workouts, if you need, anything, we have programs for everything.
I mean, you've given people, I know, like, you'll go out of your way to, you're probably one of the hardest working people I've ever met. I mean, you put in a ridiculous amount of window time. And when these guys are working out, you're not standing there, like you said, like you're in the pool with them. You're doing these, like, yes, obviously you have to keep an eye on kind of everyone and what's going on, but you're working out too on top of your own personal workouts. Cause I mean, pretty fit guy and you try to stay that way. I mean, how are you going to tell people to be fit when you're not? But it's 100%, it's to get you there, right? It's not to yell at you, but I mean, I do also know if they're not going to come and listen to you, hey, look, you want to waste your own time, that's fine, but you're not going to waste the time of everybody else. So showing up is the hardest part, but just showing up isn't going to get you there either, right?
Yeah, that's true, obviously.
100%.
So I've only yelled at 2 applicants that came in. They both showed up on the same day, and I said, hey, we're going to do a run outside. We're going to do a 3 mile. If you guys can't keep up, just do what you can, and we'll keep an eye on you. We went out running, and I passed a guy twice in 1 lap. He was walking. I said, if I come around this track again and catch you, I said, I'm going to put hands on you. Obviously, I'm not going to put hands on him.
Right.
Empty threat. And he knew it. But I came around the track again, and he got yelled at. I said, I don't know, you're out here trying to show up and do this, and you're not putting effort.
You're breaking up just a little bit there.
It was a level.
Hold on, stick with us there,
Sorry.
Petty Officer Diehm. We just lost you a little bit, so can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
There you go. We heard you. You came around. You kind of yelled at him. Yeah, that's where we kind of lost you.
Told them, hey, you got to put out and love that for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're hitting kind of a little rough spot there. We're losing you a little bit. Yep. It just told me that your network bandwidth is low. So we'll let him kind of reconnect. He's in a bad spot, but the biggest thing here is that it's about training. It's about going. I was going to make a comment. I knew that Petty Officer Diehm would laugh at. I was going to say, hey, why you got to tell people about you lapping me? But Petty Officer Diehm is a very motivating person. I'll be honest, I didn't like him when I first came here. I thought he was a jerk. But he's just honest, and he's helped me through a lot. It's somebody I've talked to about a lot of stuff, and he's very smart. He's been doing this a long time, and, if it's something that you're interested in, the other thing to note is this. You don't have to come in saying you want to be a SEAL, or even if you do, we have had people who come in and, like, SEAL or nothing, and sometimes you got to have that mentality, but at the same time, you go and work out with Petty Officer Diehm. There have been those that, like, literally they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it to SEAL. And, but they would be a good SpecWar candidate. Maybe they would be a better EOD candidate or an air rescue candidate. And Petty Officer Diehm is very good. I've been doing it a long time to kind of recognize that and let you know that. We've had people who have come in and said, I want to be a SEAL. And they just, they were going to wash out. It wasn't going to work for them. But after talking to Petty Officer Diehm, we're able to go ahead and go in to stay in the SpecWar community, but go into a different job and be successful. So you don't have to come in knowing which one of those you want to be. Petty Officer Diehm is very good at seeing somebody, seeing how they work, and taking them to that level, helping you get there. So, if it's something that you're interested in, even if you're already in the Navy Delayed Entry program, maybe you're out there and you're watching this because your recruiter posted it, so you're learning more, and you've never thought about it before. Even if you're not in this direct area, you're somewhere else in the U.S., you can try out. Talk to your recruiter. I guarantee you there's a SpecWar coordinator in your area that you can get with. Go to a workout and see if it's something for you. All right, so with that being said, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Find it, like it, share it, follow it. You never know who you're going to help if you share this out. Indiana's #1 military podcast. We're here talking about SpecWar in the Navy, what it looks like, and our special guest, NC1 Petty Officer Diehm, who has been a SpecWar kind of coordinator for a long time. He's been in recruiting a long time, very smart, and has worked in the SpecWar community. He's with us now. His broadband is kind of low.
I'm back.
There you go. So we're getting ready to move into some bonus content there for you, Petty Officer Diehm. We're going to give you an opportunity to win some money for charity. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay, so as far as it goes, I asked Petty Officer Diehm, hey, give me your favorite charity, and he wants to play today for pancreatic cancer. Is that correct?
That's correct. My dad died of it about a year ago. So.
Yes, I remember that. So, it's near and dear to your heart, something that I know you would love to see some more research and some more money go into. We're going to give you a chance to do that. I'm going to play a little something for you that should give you kind of the view of what it is that you're going to be doing. So take a listen to this. You should be... Actually, I don't know if you can hear the computer audio or not.
I don't think I can.
Oh, yeah, so you probably couldn't hear that whole video, huh?
I got subtitles. I can read.
You can? Well, that's surprising.
I know. It's one of my better talents.
All right, well, everybody else can hear, and what you're hearing, of course, is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Some of the music from that. So, you're not playing for $1 million. Behind the Helm is not sponsored or earning enough monetary value to do that. So you're going to be playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire $100 edition, and even that might be rough. But that's okay. So you're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire $100 edition for charity. I'm going to switch this over so that you can see my camera reaction with Mike. Bam. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, I can.
All right, so here's the deal. You have 3 lifelines. You have a 50-50. You have an Ask the Audience, and you have an automatic pass. Those are your 3 lifelines. There are 10 questions. There's actually 11 because there's a bonus one that'll give you an extra $5. If you get to the 10th question, though, you're winning $1,000 for your charity. Or 1,000. Wow, I wish I could do that for you. 100 for your charity. If you get the bonus, I'll give an extra 5. There are certain stopping points. If you get to $10, that's holding. 50 is holding. And then 100. Those are the only hold spots. All right, you only have 3 lifelines. And we're going to start with the first question. Are you ready?
Yes.
The Continental Navy was formed during which conflict? The American Civil War, World War I, the American Revolution, or the War of 1812?
I love naval history, and I'm definitely going to go with C, American Revolution.
Final answer.
Yes.
That is correct. The American Revolution. All right, your next question. This is for $2. You just won $1 for your charity. Good job. About how many active duty personnel are in the modern U.S. Navy? 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, or 325,000?
I'm going to say 325,000. The answer is D. Final answer.
That is correct. Roughly about 325,000 active duty sailors. We're not going to get into exact numbers, but it's a lot for being a small Navy. Biggest in the world, though. All right, next question. The Navy motto is Semper Fortis. What does that mean? We don't mind getting wet, sometimes brave, always courageous, or Navy pride.
I'm going to say C, always courageous. I do like the answer A, though.
Are you sure? Always courageous. You don't want to go with we don't mind getting wet.
I actually answered, I had someone ask me that question yesterday at the high school I was at about what the Navy's motto was.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Always courageous. Final answer for $5. You won the game with 0 incorrect responses. Why does it always do this to me?
technology hates you.
Yeah, I guess. Let's go again. I'm going to get there. I did this with somebody else, and it did the same thing to me. So we need to get to the next question. Moving right along here. Yep, somehow I've done it again. Don't look at your screen. I gotta change the screen because apparently I've missed one again somehow. All right, well, I'll just ask you the questions and then you can guess them, okay?
Okay, that works.
Because for whatever reason, why didn't that work? Man, whatever. Okay. We're going to try this one more time. All right. Question 4. Why? This always happens. This is what happens when you do things live. Well, it's okay. We'll edit in post. We won't edit in post.
Oh, yeah.
Post.
That's easy way to do it.
Well, I know, but it is what it is. All right, so you still have a 50-50. You still have an Ask the Audience, and you still have a lifeline, okay? And you still have an automatic pass. All right. So, question 4. Here we go. I got it up now. You're just not going to be able to see it. You still listen to the music, though, for everybody else. All submarine crew members in the Navy are volunteers. A, true. B, false. C, no. And D, ABCD, LMNOP.
That is a true answer.
Huh?
That is true. All submarine volunteers are volunteers.
True. All submarine crew members in the Navy are actually volunteers. You cannot be forced onto a submarine. It is a volunteer to do that. That is absolutely correct for $10 for your charity. So that is a save point. Any questions missed? If you miss a question, you're out. We're still going to give $10 to your charity. Moving on to question number 5, sir. What happened to the Continental Navy after the American Revolution? Answer A, it tripled in size. B, it was disbanded. C, French traders destroyed it. Or D, it switched teams. It LeBron'd.
Didn't switch teams. Good, my phone's at 1%. I just realized that.
Oh, great.
It didn't disband. They would have changed their name to the United States Navy at that time.
So just remember, it says what happened to the Continental Navy after the American Revolution. So we're talking right after the Revolution.
Tripled in size.
Are you sure? Would you like to use the lifeline?
Oh, phone just fucking.
Did I lose you? Uh-oh. Did we lose you?
Will this one work?
Yeah, that's fine. You're actually speaking through my mic right now, so that'll work. I think everybody should be able to hear. So, we'll finish up strong here. So, question 5 was, what happened to the Continental Navy after the American Revolution? It tripled in size. It was disbanded. French traders destroyed it. You were saying you thought it tripled in size, and I asked, are you sure? Do you want to use a lifeline? Hint, hint. Stomp, stomp.
I would definitely want to use a lifeline there.
All right, so would you like to ask the audience an automatic pass or a 50-50?
We'll do a 50-50 on it, even though I think it's going to leave the first 2 answers. But I think it would have disbanded to become the United States Navy.
So when I click 50-50, it leaves you with, it was disbanded or French traders destroyed it.
I would think disbanded, yes.
That is correct. It was disbanded, and I don't have it up anymore. I read this before, but it actually, the United States at the time did not feel a need after the revolution for a naval war force, so they actually disbanded it. It didn't exist anymore for a little bit, so it was disbanded. Question 5, that was for $20 to your charity. All right, let's move on to question number 6. Question number 6 is, how did the original 13 frigates of the Continental Navy fare against the British during the American Revolution? Answer A, won a few, lost a few. Answer B, destroyed them. Answer C, they were completely outmatched. And answer D, it wasn't the British, it was the French.
Repeat the question one more time.
How did the original 13 frigates of the Continental Navy fare against the British during the American Revolution? They won a few, lost a few. They completely destroyed them. They were completely outmatched. Or it wasn't the British, it was the French.
We go B, destroyed them.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Would you like to use a lifeline?
I probably should.
You have an automatic pass, and you can ask the audience. All right. When I ask the audience, it gives me percents, and the percents are won a few, lost a few is at 10%, destroyed them is at 5%, completely outmatched is at 60%, and the rest of it is it wasn't the British, it was the French.
I'm gonna go with C.
That is correct. They were completely outmatched. We only had 13 frigates. The British Navy was a force that has been around for a long time at that point and was not our brightest naval moment. So we were completely outmatched by the British Navy. You're down to 1 lifeline. We're up to question 7. All right, question 7, which is another stopping point. You get past this, you've got $50 to your charity no matter what. Okay? Question number 7, who names Navy ships? And by that, I mean who is responsible, bottom line, name Navy ships. Answer A, the President. Answer B, the first commanding officer. Answer C, it is a poll among the sailors on the ship. Or answer D, the Secretary of the Navy.
Part of the commissioning ceremony for the USS Indiana, which is submarine. I know it's A or D. President or the Secretary of the Navy. You know what? I'm not going to use my lifeline, I don't think. And I want to say Secretary of the Navy actually is the one that named the ship.
That is correct. The Secretary of the Navy is absolutely the person who names the Navy ships. He can delegate that out and get more information, but he is the bottom liner. The President does not. It is the Secretary of the Navy. That was risky. But you are at a stopping point. $50 guaranteed going to your charity. That's great. You still have a lifeline with only 3 more questions. See if we can get to that $100. Are you ready for question 8, Petty Officer Diehm?
Yes, I am.
All right, question number 8. What I don't know how this made it to number 8. I don't know why I put this in, because it's literally what we just talked about. This is so easy. This is for $75. What is the Navy's Special Operations Group called? The Green Berets, Delta Force, SEALs, or Rangers?
It's a tough one. I don't think I'm going to pass on this. Green. No. Men with green faces. I'm going to go with Navy SEALs.
Are you sure? Do you want to use your lifeline? You're positive on that one.
I'm
pretty sure. Yeah, absolutely. It is the Navy SEALs, and SEALs, ladies and gentlemen, is actually an acronym. What does that stand for, Petty Officer Diehm? Yes, it does. All right, you just won $75 for your charity. We're moving on to question 9. Remember, you are safe at 50, so you're at 75. If you get a question wrong, it does go back down to 50, but let's see if we can get you to that 100. Question number 9. What is the purpose of the NCIS? Answer A, nuclear cruise missiles. Answer B, criminal investigation. Answer C, submarine propulsion. Or answer D, it's just a show.
I have met the actors of NCIS. They showed up at our command. We gave them a ride on our boats, took pictures, and did all that. But I am going to believe that NCIS stands for Navy Criminal Investigation Service, and I want to say criminal investigation. Final answer.
Answer B, that's absolutely right. Criminal investigation. So if you're out there and you've watched CSI, that is an actual group. It doesn't necessarily work the way they show it, but it is criminal investigation, and it is for the Navy. That is absolutely right. Question 9, $85 so far to your charity. This is the big one. Question number 10 gets you to that $100 mark. It's 100 or 50. So let's see if you can win that $100 for, what was the charity again? What are we playing for? Go ahead and let them know.
Cancer.
Pancreatic cancer research. Absolutely. If you get this, no matter what you do, if it's 50 or it's 100, Behind the Helm will donate that amount. I wish it was $1 million. I wish I could get $1 million, even 1,000, but I can do 100, and I will do that. So question 10, here we go. This is a hard one. I'm not going to lie. So it's probably good that you save that lifeline. Question 10. What was the name of the first armed sea vessel of the American Revolution? The USS Clyde, the USS Hannah, the USS Claude, or the USS Hanoi?
Well, Hanoi would point to Vietnam era, so it's going to be A or C. What are those two answers again? The Claude A and the Claude?
It is either the Clyde, the Hannah, the Claude, or the Hanoi. This is the 10th and final question. You still have one lifeline. Just want to make sure that you are aware of that.
I will use that lifeline because I am not sure on this.
And I will tell you that the lifeline that you saved is, normally it would be phone a friend, but obviously for this they don't have it, so it is an automatic pass. And I am pulling up something right now so that I can it closed again, of course, so that I can tell you not just the answer but a little bit about it real quick. Come on, where are you? 1 second. You're using your lifeline, so you're getting it for free, so you can just relax. So with your lifeline, the final answer is the USS Hannah was the first armed vessel. The USS Hannah is regarded as the very first warship of the American Revolution. It was actually just a fishing schooner that was outfitted with four 4-pound guns. That was it. The USS Hannah. Which wins you, sir, $100 for pancreatic cancer research. You're getting that $100 for it no matter what, but I'm willing to give another $5 if you can answer the bonus question. Are you ready?
Let's run it.
Bonus question. Here we go. Who is the number one military podcast in all of Indiana? Your answers are On the Helm, Behind the Helm, Out of the Box, or Yo MTV Raps.
I am going to say Behind the Helm.
But
Final answer.
Behind the Helm, the number one military podcast in all of Indiana. You're absolutely right, and that's an extra $5. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you for coming on such late notice, Petty Officer Diehm. We really appreciate you. Anybody out there, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe. If you have questions about the different special warfare, reach out. Whether it's here, I can get you in contact with Petty Officer Diehm. You can talk to me. If you're not in our area, trust me, we can get you with somebody. Don't think that you can't do it. If you have any inkling at all, give it a try. Give it a try and find out. It's free to try out. And if it's not for you, hey, you still got the Navy, right? So, Petty Officer Diehm, thank you so much. We're going to donate from Behind the Helm $105. I know it's not a lot, but it's something to pancreatic cancer research. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for coming in on short notice and talking a little bit about special warfare and, you know, being our special guest today.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you, man. Have a good day, all right? I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Okay, so with that being said, that is going to be the end of our show. We're going to donate $105 to pancreatic cancer research. Thank you so much, Petty Officer Diehm, for coming in. I know I told everybody that Chief Snyder was going to be here. I didn't explain that earlier. He got called into a watch. He had to help with something. He apologized a lot. He really wanted to be here. We're going to try next week with him. He is overseas. So thank you guys so very much. Have a great time. Thanks for being here. Till next week, have a good one.